analogy. So I'm going to begin with a quote. And the quote is, our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed. This is a quote from Abraham Joshua Heschel. And this quote was taken from a book that I've been working with called Creating the Beloved Community, written by Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart, who is a CSL minister. And what struck me about the above statement is how often we live on autopilot. How often we just live on autopilot. We get up in the morning and we have our little routine. Well, I don't know about you guys. I have my little routine. You know, it's like you got your little routine that you get up in the morning and you do this and you do that. And you're just taking it. It's just like being on autopilot. So I want to invite us to take a moment and think about something that brings us great happiness that is in our life. Think about something that just amazes you. Maybe it's your physical body. I mean, if you think about your physical body right in this moment, all the atoms and the cells and the neurons and the electricity and everything that is going on in order for our bodies to function the way they're functioning is amazing. How it all just flows together as this whole system. And so just take a moment and think about something that amazes you in life. Maybe something you've taken for granted. And feel that energy of amazement flow through your body. Feel that energy of amazement make that shift. As students of truth and on a spiritual path, that is one of shifting our awareness from what is lacking in our lives to becoming co-creators. We can sometimes get fixated on what's the next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing do I want to create in my life? What is the next state of consciousness that I want to achieve? And we're always in this, what's the next thing, do it mode. We can get caught up in that. And the truth is, resting in a place of amazement, appreciation, and awareness will transform us and bring to us our greatest desires faster than anything we do. Because when we rest in that awareness, we let go. We let go of how we think it's supposed to happen. We let go of, the giving God the honey-do list. So God, today, what I have in my list for you is, I want this and I want that. I want this and I want that. In the Unity book, Patterns for Self-Unfoldment by Randolph and Letty Schnellig, it says, you can keep with you an attitude of loving appreciation. There's no need to fabricate a dream paradise in your imagination. You do not seek a dream world, but a better understanding, a closer communion with the real world. You have learned that harmony and peace is established within you. and can be experienced right now. Stretch your thinking to realize that paradise can be experienced right here. And the affirmation that they wrote is, right now, I live in paradise. So I'm going to invite you to affirm that with me. Right now, I live in paradise. And again, right now, I live in paradise. I'm going to have us just one more time, and I want you to focus on a word that you want to accentuate. A word that you want to accentuate in it. So, right now, I live in paradise. And we allow that to shift our awareness away from the lack and the traumas that are going on. And to awaken within us what Jesus referred to as the kingdom of heaven. He said the kingdom of heaven is in your midst, meaning that it is all around us and it is within us. And so it is right here. It is we who need to open our eyes and our heart to see the world with radical amazement. So why is this so important? Is it just so that we can have that next great spiritual experience or create that next wonderful thing in our life? You know, is it about just having magic? Well, yes and no. We do create the next wonderful thing in our life. And it's not magic. It's principle. It's spiritual law in action. When we affirm a truth, like right now I live in paradise, what happens within our mind is we engage in, what happens is we engage in what unity refers to as part of the Trinity. It's one of unity's trinities. And it is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So there's a law that is at work. So the thesis is, right now I live in paradise. Except here and here and there and possibly there. You know, right now I live in paradise and it's like, okay, right now I live in paradise. Let's see, there's wars, there's famines, there's flooding, there's earthquakes, there's tornadoes, there's hurricanes, there's conflict and chaos and confusion, and it feels like everything is falling apart. And there's a pandemic on top of that. Paradise? See, what happens is when we affirm a truth, everything that is showing up that is unlike that truth is going to come up from within us for healing. It's going to come up for us to look at. And for us to be able to turn it over, to heal that. And as we do that work, that's the antithesis. It's like everything unlike it comes up. So have you ever had that experience where you're affirming something and then it feels like I'll just use something simple that people can probably relate to. I'm going to go on a diet and I'm going to eat well. I'm going to eat foods that really resonate with my body. I'm going to eat well. Well, chocolate's eating well, isn't it? Ice cream has protein in it. comes up. Everything unlike what you're affirming will reveal itself. And that's how we come into congruence and coherence within ourselves. That creates synthesis. And then there's a moment when you wake up and you go, right now I do live in paradise. And you own it and you know it. And it becomes your reality. It becomes your real world. You get to know that. When we do this work, it is about, we've had the era of waking up, about being spiritually awake. There's many people on the planet now who really, you could say, are spiritually awake. Now is the time of spiritual maturity. It's about taking that awakeness and maturing it. So Joseph Campbell says in a book called Goddesses, Mysteries of the Feminine Divine, he says, I have read somewhere of an old Chinese curse. May you be born in an interesting time. And he goes on to say, this is a very interesting time. There are no models for anything that is going on. It's a period of free fall into the future, and each has to make his or her own way. The old models are not working. The new have not yet appeared. In fact, it is we who are now even shaping the new in the shaping of our interesting lives. And that is the whole sense of the present challenge. We are the ancestors of the age to come. The unwitting generators of its supporting myths, the mythic models that will inspire its lives. We are the ancestors of the age to come. We are living in interesting times when old ways of doing things do not work. There's another old saying, a popular saying that I'm sure you've all heard. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And sometimes we can get caught up in that when we're in this, what they refer to as a liminal time. A liminal time when things are shifting at such a rate that sometimes the ground doesn't feel stable underneath us. But to remember that each of us has been called. The scripture in the daily word for today is 2 Timothy. The power of God who saved us and called us with a holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and grace. And this grace was given to us in Christ Jesus before the ages began, but has now been revealed. A calling, a purpose, a seed that has been planted within us, that is our seed to express in this world. And it is by really getting in touch with the amazement that that seed is. And at the same time, how ordinary that seed is. I'll share really quick that one of my favorite books is a book called, what's it called now, saying The Ordinary?
The Delight of Being Ordinary.
The Delight of Being Ordinary. The Delight of Being Ordinary. And it's a novel, so this is not real. But The Delight of Being Ordinary is about the Pope and the Dalai Lama decide that they're tired and they need a vacation. And so basically they run away from home together for 3 days in the Italian countryside. And they wear disguises, thinking that nobody will know who they are because they've got their disguises on. But their presence, the presence that they bring, that's our ordinariness. Our ordinariness is our presence. It is that seed within us that is that calling, that purpose that has always been there. It is our ordinariness, and at the same time, it is also that which is amazing about us. Because it is like no other. So as we live in these times of this time of change, maybe I should have called this talk radical change, living in radical change, because we are living in radical change. But part of what can happen to us when we think about change is we automatically go down the road of the negative, what's going to go wrong. You know, whenever there's change, it's like, well, but let's really talk about what could go wrong here. And I can give you a list. Because that's what the mind wants to do. And that's why we use affirmations to shift our consciousness. Charles Fillmore said that we take affirmations, that they're not platitudes. It's not about just going, right now I live in paradise, and think that everything's just gonna make this magical shift. He says you have to appropriate it, meaning you have to take it within yourself. You have to really work it. And allow it to penetrate every aspect of your being. That it's about shifting consciousness, not about magic. It's about allowing that shift to take place within us in ways that will, I can guarantee you this, will amaze us. Will absolutely amaze us. I mean, jaw-dropping amaze us. And we'll only see it if we're open to the amazement that is around us. There's so many amazing things that are happening within the world, within our own lives. And as we appreciate those things, and we focus on those things, you know, there's that old saying of what you appreciate, appreciates. It grows. And it grows within us. And so each of you received a piece of paper today as you came in, I hope. If you did not, if you would raise your hand, somebody will get you a piece of paper. You will need a pen. So I'll give you a second to do that. You need a pen, there's pens on the table. So what we're gonna do is a little exercise during the meditation. So I'm gonna lead us in meditation. And then following the meditation, after I bring you out of meditation, what I'm gonna invite you to do, and I really invite you to wait for the meditation before you start doing this, is I'm gonna invite you to write down everything about Unity of Verde Valley that amazes you. Everything about Unity of Verde Valley that amazes you. So we're going to go through the meditation. You'll write it down. You can put your name on it or not put your name on it. I have no preference about that. That's up to you. I am going to compile them and bring them to the board for us to look at. And as we're moving forward as a ministry, to really be able to look at the things that people find amazing and wonderful about this community, so we can focus on what's amazing and wonderful about this community. So I'm just going to invite us to take a moment and breathe. To just take in a sacred breath and let it go. Taking in another sacred breath. And just letting go. If you have not done so, you may want to close your eyes to the outside world. As we open our inner eyes, our ears, our heart, to the source of all good. Just continue to breathe in the awareness of this presence. We open ourselves to listen intently, as if something amazing is going to be whispered within our ear, within our heart. We ask that deeper part of ourselves, what is it that I find amazing about Unity of Verde Valley? What is it that makes my heart sing? We hold this in our hearts. We hold this amazement. In our hearts. We allow it to penetrate our heart and our mind, to resonate through our whole body. To resonate out from us and into this room with that energy of amazement is so full. We cannot contain it within ourselves. And so again, we just allow ourselves to really breathe and be conscious of the breath. Allowing the breath to bring us back. To gradually bring us back. When you're ready, you can just write down on your piece of paper your amazement. Our goal should be to live in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed. And so it is. So I do want to say that during the opportunity